What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Cyrus Obsidian here at Obsidian Games, and here we are to give a Rescue Ace combo guide from my last deck profile that we played for Rescue Ace. Now, we did drop one card from it, and that is going to be our Rescue Ace Fire Attacker, just because it was good in some instances, but there were chances we were bricking on the card itself. So for this combo guide, we are dropping it, so it is at a 40 card deck. But first off, we just want to show off some of the one card starters that we can, one card combos that we can play for the deck. So the first one being our Rescue Ace Airlifter, which will normally Airlifter. Airlifter is going to search us our emergency. Next, we'll go ahead, activate the emergency, specialing out our Rescue Ace Hydrant, tributing off the Airlifter. Next, we'll go ahead, activate Hydrant's effect to search out Turbulence. We'll go ahead, activate the Turbulence in hand, banishing the two Rescue Ace names in our grave to go ahead and summon Turbulence. Then we'll go Turbulence, setting the Extinguish, setting the Rescue, setting the Alert, and setting the Contain. We'll go ahead and get those all set. And then next, we'll go ahead and activate the Alert, so that way we can search out our Preventer. And then from here, you have 4 other cards in your hand, but we're gonna go ahead and link these two off into an SP Little Knight, and then go ahead, activate Preventer, banishing our Hydrant to summon. So here, if we get nibbed, we'll be okay, which is really cool. But if they don't nib us here, then we'll go into our Promethean. Preventer will go ahead and activate, go ahead and special out Hydrant. We'll go ahead and use Promethean, special out Turbulence. You could also special back the Preventer, totally up to you. And then link these two off into an Ambler Whale. And you're pretty much ending on this with 4 other cards in your hand. And those can be a variety of hand traps, extenders, or whatever. And that is just off of the Airlifter, of course. Another one card combo is pretty much the exact same combo line. But instead of starting off with the Airlifter, you are starting off with Reinforcement of the Army. Now, I will say that does play into Droll a lot harder, because if they droll you after Rhoda, then you're kind of screwed. But what is also great about this deck is that it can play around Fulos pretty well. You just don't summon any of your extra deck stuff, and you just pretty much end on a Turbulence, Preventer, Hydrant with the 3 set. And you're pretty much goated playing through Fulos. So, with that, let me show you another one card combo for this deck, and that is starting with Rescue Ace Hydrant. So you don't get the exact same end board, but you do get an end board that is decent enough. We do start off by normaling Hydrant. The Hydrant's going to search you Preventer. Go ahead and link Hydrant off into your link 1, which will be Anima. Go ahead, activate Preventer, banishing the Hydrant. Link these two off into your Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Go Preventer effect to special out the Hydrant underneath Sunlight Wolf, so that way Sunlight Wolf can trigger, adding you Preventer back to hand. Link these two off again in for Promethean. Promethean, bring back Hydrant. Link into Ambler Whale. So that is if you only see like Hydrant in your starting hand, you don't see any other Rescue Ace names. You can get into an Ambler Whale with access into Promethean to be able to destroy. It's not like totally solid, but you do also have 4 other cards in your hand that you can use to help you out with in your combo. So now let me show you a combo on your opponent's turn. This combo is really, really interesting because you are playing on your opponent's turn, and it does involve a little bit of interaction from your opponent. So the play line is Impulse. So when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you just go Impulse. Impulse is going to special out Fire Engine. And then when they special summon a monster, you can go Fire Engine effect. And you can do one of two things. You can either summon out your Airlifter here, or you go ahead and summon out your Rescue Ace Hydrant. If you go the Airlifter route, you go ahead, summon Airlifter. Airlifter will activate its effect, getting you in emergency. So that way you can go in draw phase, go emergency. Or if you summon out the Hydrant, your opponent cannot target the Hydrant anymore since you do have a Fire Engine on field. Either or is a really good play line to go with. And, you know, I say combo, but it's really just like, oh yeah, you're just getting out Airlifter, the Fire Monitor, Fire Engines. That way you can just play around on your opponent's turn, give them some form of interaction. But it also does help bait out hand traps, because then, you know, they're forced to, like, do I let them have plays on my turn? So now let's do some test hands for the deck. We go ahead and start off with Super Poly, Contain, a Turbulence, a Rhoda, and an Alert. Honestly, we start off with the Rhoda. If we get ashed here, we get ashed. If not, we just full combo with Airlifter. We'll go ahead and normal the Airlifter here. Go ahead, use its effect, search out in emergency. And then go emergency here. Specialing out the lovely Rescue Ace Hydrant. Tribute the Airlifter. And what's nice is since we have the Alert in our hand, we can go ahead and activate Alert here. Go ahead and get us Preventer. And then we can go ahead and use Hydrant. If they do have a form of interaction, it's totally fine. But we'll go ahead and grab ourselves Impulse just for follow-up on our opponent's turn. Then we'll go ahead and activate the Turbulence. We're going to go ahead and banish the Airlifter and Alert rather than the emergency to go ahead summon. Go ahead and use Turbulence to set the emergency, the Extinguish, and Rescue. And then again, we'll go ahead and link into SP. Go ahead, activate the Preventer, banishing the Hydrant. Link into Promethean. Preventer, go ahead, bring back Hydrant. Promethean, bring back Preventer. And then what's really nice is we can go Rescue, bringing back our Turbulence. So that way we can keep Preventer on the board. And link these two into Ambler. And then from here, we just set two more and we pass our turn. So we end the board with the Contain, which will be a monster negate. And then if Hydrant is on the board, which he will be, opponent cannot use it for extra deck material. We've got a Super Poly that they'll have to play through. We also have the Extinguish, and we have an emergency to set up other plays as well. And then alongside that, we've got the Impulse in our hand, so that way we can play on their turn as well. And then not only that, we do have the Preventer, which is a Book of Moon, and then we have Promethean as well to be another form of interruption, being able to pop the Preventer and the whatever they summon, and then Preventer's effect will get us Airlifter. Airlifter will go ahead and search us out the field spell. We just have a lot of play lines that we can do on our opponent's turn, which is going to be a lot of forms of interaction to play with and play through. Do one more test hand. Honestly, this deck is so fun. Like, I truly do love it. And what's nice is that aside from the engine that you play, the non-engine can be totally categorized into how your locals are. I am playing cards in mine that help at my locals in particular. But if you're wanting to play against the best decks, I would definitely change out Super Polys, probably the Phantasmes maybe inside, the Drolls possibly. Eclipse is going to be really good. Nibiru is going to be really good. And then Effect Negation, of course, is just going to be really good, this format. So starting off with our last test hand, we draw an Extinguish, a Phantasme, an Airlifter, thank goodness, Hydrant, and a Super Poly. So again, this is just the same exact combo line. We'll just go Summon into Emergency, Emergency into Hydrant, and then we're actually going to tribute the Hydrant that's in our hand, and you'll see why, because then we'll go Hydrant here, grabbing Turbulence, we'll go ahead summon, banishing those two. Then we'll go ahead and set our Alert, our Emergency, Rescue, and Contain. We'll go ahead and use the Alert to search out Preventer. And then we'll go ahead and link these two into a Sunlight Wolf instead. Then we'll go Preventer, banishing the Turbulence to summon. Then we'll go Sunlight Wolf to grab our Airlifter back. These into Promethean. Again, the same standard combo line. Promethean, Link, Ambler Whale. That's in graveyard. Go ahead, set and set. And again, we're ending on a little bit more this time. So starting with the field, we've got the Preventer. We got the Promethean to pop our own Preventer, which can bring us back our second Hydrant. We also have another Super Poly. We've got the Rescue, being able to steal something from their graveyard instead, rather from our own. An Emergency to get us even further in our play lines. An Extinguish, a Contain. We have an Airlifter in hand, which is dead, but it is a follow-up for the next turn. And then we also have a Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, which is going to get us more draws. Since we are playing in a Link format, whether they're playing the Fiendsmith engine, the Malice, you are guaranteed to get a couple draws off of that, which, you know, unfortunately for my case, we draw two Super Polys. But if you're better at this game than I am, you can draw into, you know, maybe hand traps or whatever. But that is it for this combo guide for Rescue Ace. I love this deck. It is so fun. Been playing it since day one, even when it was, you know, horrible until we got Preventer and Emergency. This deck is so fun. It is also extremely budget, since like everything has been reprinted at a cheaper rarity. So definitely give it a pickup if you guys are wanting to play it, since you don't need the wanted engine anymore. But without that, we'll just pass it over to you, and we'll see you on the next one.